Joseph was a handsome man in Potiphar's estate, elevated by the Lord to govern small and great. The master trusted everything into his faithful hand, leaving all he owned to him across the Egyptian land, except the woman by his side, who watched him day by day with eyes of wild desire that would lead his soul astray. She cast her gaze upon the youth and spoke her bold design. "Come lay with me tonight," she said, "and make your body mine." Oh, Potiphar's wife, spinning webs of gold and silk, temptation on your tongue as smooth and sweet as milk, trying to trap a righteous man inside a secret room, trading honor for a spark that leads to inner gloom. When passion turned to fury and her wicked scheme was crossed, she burned the house of truth down to hide the game she lost. Day after day she pressed her plea, but Joseph stood his ground, refusing to betray the trust where righteousness was found. My master keeps no secret back except for you alone. How could I do this evil thing against God's holy throne? One afternoon the house was bare, no servants were inside. She caught him by his garment with nowhere left to hide. "Lie with me now," she demanded, as she held him by the sleeve. But Joseph turned and ran away, leaving his coat to grieve. Oh, Potiphar's wife, spinning webs of gold and silk, temptation on your tongue as smooth and sweet as milk, trying to trap a righteous man inside a secret room, trading honor for a spark that leads to inner gloom. When passion turned to fury and her wicked scheme was crossed, she burned the house of truth down to hide the game she lost. With his cloak held in her fingers, her pride was struck with shame. She called the household servants out to ruin Joseph's name. "Look at this Hebrew slave my husband brought into our home. He came to force himself on me while I was all alone." I screamed aloud with all my might. He panicked in his dread, left his garment here with me, and out the door he fled. She kept the coat beside her till her husband came back home, and poured her poison in his ear to make his anger foam. Locked away in prison cell behind the iron bar, though Joseph sat in darkness, God was never very far. The garment was a lie, but his integrity stayed whole. No fabric made of deceit could ever bind his soul. Potiphar's wife held the coat, but Joseph kept his heart.